حسيت ان دي إثارة برضه.
الناس دخلت.
Sorry about this. Okay, so like I said, guys.
Mister, we can't hear anything. Like we're hearing sound of a robot.
Alright, how about now? Is it better?
You muted yourself, Yemi.
Are you guys can hear me better now?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, good. So let's continue with this. All right. So we know that the monkey's paw can have 3 owners, and each owner can have 3 wishes. All right, and we know that the second owner is Sergeant Major Morris. The third owner is going to be Mr. White. When Mr. Sergeant Major Morris, when he discusses that he has had his 3 wishes, his face whitens or he becomes pale. What could you infer, or what does that help us understand about the monkey's paw? Who could answer this for us?
Online.
لا أنا ما أقدرش.
The AP
أنا
All right,
online.
guys. Sorry about this. Sorry, it's totally out of my hand. That's not a problem. All right. So again, who could help me understand, please, or what can we infer about Mr. White, his face whitening or brightening when he says that he has had his 3 wishes? Someone please raise your hand and answer that for me.
Miss, can you ask the question again?
I'm sharing the screen right here. It says here, when he discusses that he has had his 3 wishes, his face whitens. What does that help us understand about the monkey's paw? What can we infer about the monkey's paw? Hannah.
That it's like the wishes happen, but they happen like they happen by something bad should happen, so the wish could so the wish could be true.
Good. All right. So we understand that he's uncomfortable. Okay. We know that he's uncomfortable with the paw. All right. He's not happy with it. All right. And we can understand, or we can infer, that his wishes might have came true, but in a negative way. All right. So yes. All right. All right. So again, all right. So let's move on to number 3. What was the first man's 3rd wish? We said that the owner of the monkey's paw, they were the first owner. What was his 3rd wish? We don't know what was his first and second, but we do know that his 3rd wish
Can you
was
just
what?
go for a second?
All right, Nano, please, can you tell us for what is his 3rd wish?
Death.
Good job. All right. So the 3rd wish was for death. All right. So the first owner, rather, his 3rd wish. All right. The third wish was death. All right.
Miss,
what does that? Yes.
Can you just go up a little bit? Can I screenshot the screen?
I'm gonna post this for you guys on Microsoft Word with the answers.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
thanks.
if you don't have to tire yourself. All right.
Okay.
So the 3rd wish was death. We said. What is that? How might this be an example of foreshadowing? What could this foreshadow for us? All right, Nano.
That يعني the first 2 wishes, bad consequences led to him wishing for his death.
All right, so it foreshadows that the owner is not satisfied, right? It foreshadows that whoever gets hold of this monkey's paw he's not happy or satisfied with it. to the point that it drives them to death, or it could also foreshadow that the White's family is going to experience some type of loss in the family before we know that, of course, Herbert was going to die. All right, so this could help the readers. It could help foreshadow the White family's potential loss. Okay, they could also potentially lose a family member, or even be so unhappy with the paw to the point where they could themselves wish for death. All right, so again, death here is associated with the foreshadowing, the possibility of the White's family suffering a loss. Why doesn't Mr. White know what to wish for? All right, so again, in the beginning, he said
Because he feels grateful, Yani.
All right, Fadia, please.
Because he feels grateful.
Good. All right, so he mentions here, Mr. White mentions, first he asks how to make a wish. And how is it? How do you make a wish, Maya? How do you make a wish? How is it explained? Reem, please.
Hold it in the right hand and make the wish aloud.
Good job. Hold it in your right hand and make the wish aloud. All right. This is what this is how Mr. White was instructed on how to use the monkey's paw. Now, why doesn't Mr. White know what to wish for? Like Fadia said, Mr. White seems to, feels that he has everything that he can possibly want. All right, he doesn't, he feels that he doesn't have anything that he's missing, so he doesn't really know what to wish for. What is Mr. White's first wish? All right, he does make a wish at the end of the day, and he does make a wish. Ahmed, Rashwan, can you please tell us what was his first wish? Yusuf, can you please tell us what was his first wish?
He wanted 200 pounds.
Good. He wished for 200 pounds. And what was the 200 pounds for? What purpose? Why did he wish for these 200 pounds? Yusuf, do you know?
To clear the payment for the house.
Good job. Perfect. To clear the payment for the house. Or to clear the house's payment. All right. Good. Perfect. All right. And this is, that was his first wish. And this is how he learned to wish. All right. What are some of the hints that Sergeant Major Morris gives that suggest that the paw is dangerous? He gives him plenty of them. All right. He gives plenty of them. And we said that they're all acted as warning signs. Okay. We call them warning signs that Mr. White totally ignored. What are some of these signs? We discussed plenty of them. What was one of the warning signs? How about we go with Reem, please go ahead.
Okay. First one, when he said he doesn't want to sell it because it caused a lot of mischief already.
Good.
Trouble.
All right. Oh, good. Perfect. The first one that Morris, all right, mentions that he does not want to sell the paw because it has caused enough mischief. All right. And we said here that again here it means that it had caused so much trouble. All right. What is another hint? Something that he does or says that could act as a warning sign? Hannah, Hamdi, please.
He said to him what the first owner wished for. He wished for death. he could know that so that it was the second warning, so he could know that he didn't like he didn't like how he wished for the monkey's paw.
Good. All right. He tells him that the first owner, his last wish was death. All right. That should be also very morbid. Okay. It should be like, it should make Mr. White question, why would someone wish for death? I'm sure someone who is very, desperate. Okay. What else does he do that is a warning sign? Hannah, Durgem.
when اللي هو Major Morris ده throw it in the fire, he said that I'm not responsible what will happen next يعني.
Good job. Morris throws the paw into the fire. All right, and he tells he even tells Mr. White to be a sensible man and to put it back into the fire, because we know that Mr. White retrieves it from the fire. He takes it out, and he really wants it. All right, he's desperate to have it, and Mr. Sergeant Major Morris tells him to be a sensible man and to make the right decision and throw it back into the fire. But again, he doesn't want to do that. All right, and he tells Mr. White to throw it back into the fire, and he doesn't listen. All right, and also, what does he tell him again? He gives him something else. When he tells him, if you wish, what does he tells him to do to make what? How should he wish before he wishes? How does he advise? What advice does he give him about his wishes? Reem?
To wish for something sensible.
Good. All right. Morris advises Mr. White to wish for something sensible, and also he tells him that he is not responsible for any of the things that he will face, and declares himself not responsible, unaccountable for the consequences. All right, so all these were warning signs. Perfect. Next, why does Mr. Major Morris throw the monkey's paw onto the fire, and why do the whites react so strongly? Again, we know. All right, so again, why does he throw it into the fire? Because again, he feels that it's what? It's a repetitive answer. Maya, please.
He burns it so no one can use it because he doesn't want to feel guilty, because he knows it only brings harm.
Good job. All right. This is his way of trying to get rid of it. All right. All right. He wants good. He wants to end the cycle of harm that it has created. All right. What does Mr. White see in the fire the night of his first wish? And we said that this is an example of what? What is it foreshadowing? As they all go to sleep, Mr. White sits and he looks into the fire and he sees an image. What was this image of? Hannah Magdi, go ahead. What was the image of? Any answers?
Miss, may I answer?
Go ahead, Hannah. Go ahead.
He sees a monkey in the fireplace, and he not a monkey. He sees scary faces.
Right, it's a simian image. All right, and we said simian related to the ape or a monkey. So you're right. Okay, he sees an image of we can say a simian image. All right, a simian image, and we saw the word simian, and simian means related to an ape. Okay, monkey like. All right, and what does it foreshadow?
It okay. He says that he sees horrible faces, and it foreshadows that it will something bad will happen.
Exactly. All right. So this image was so did he like to look at it? No, he couldn't tolerate the image to the point where he grabbed he put off the fire and he went straight to bed. He wanted to escape this image. All right. So what does it foreshadow? It foreshadows misfortune. Okay. Okay. So it foreshadows a future of misfortune and horrifying images. All right, just like the idea of his son. Okay, his son returning back. Why did he undo that wish? Because he knew that if Herbert comes back, he wasn't going to see the same Herbert that he saw. Their normal son. He was going to see a very horrifying image of his son being mutilated. Okay, so and a horrifying image, and this horrifying image we could predict it would be Herbert returning from the dead, mutilated. Okay, in a mutilated form. All right, this is basically what the foreshadowing is. 8. Why does the story start with the father and son playing chess? We said that chess game was very important. Okay, because it shows a lot about Mr. It's an indicator. Okay, so again, why does the author start off the story with a game of chess? So that he could make I'm gonna help you with this one. Because the author wants to teach you, or he wants the reader to understand more about the characters. Okay, about their personality and how they think, and we can understand Mr. White's personality from that game of chess. Okay, and that was the purpose behind why they started off the story with the game of chess. All right, so again, to help the reader better understand the personality. Okay, to understand actually Mr. White's personality. All right, and what kind of person he is, and how does he act, and how does he behave. All right. And we understand that the winner of this game was Herbert. Father lost. Does the father's strategy at the chess game tell you anything about his personality? If so, what? So let's discuss Mr. White's strategy. How does he play the game? What does he do? We've discussed a few things that he does. Okay, what are some things that he does? Fadia, please.
Miss, can I?
Miss, can I say?
Oh, okay, go ahead.
He put the king in the wrong position. That mean that he cannot take a decision by himself.
So he places the king in peril. All right, we said in danger, in danger. All right, and here we said that this could be equivalent to him jeopardizing his son. All right, it could be familiar to him making a decision that's going to put his son at risk. Okay, jeopardizing his son means he places Herbert at risk of getting harmed. All right, so again, the swish of the 200 pounds, it really reflected back on Herbert. Okay, so this is one thing. What else does he do? He says he makes a move, and then after that he makes it. What does he realize later about it? That it was the wrong move. Okay, so we got that from his personality, because first he was very pro using the monkey's paw, making a wish, and then at the end of the story we see that he is the one who's wise and doesn't want to make the wish because he understood that he had made a mistake. So this is what we learn about his personality. Mr. White is the type of person that doesn't he goes into action. All right, so he makes a move and then later realizes that it was wrong, all right, or miscalculated, all right, and then he tries to fix it. Then he tries to cover this move or fix it, or he was trying to hide it from his son during the game. All right, and what does that tell us about him? That he jumps into action.
He's quick to think.
Yes, quickly, right? Quickly, and then regrets it.
Regrets. Miss,
Yes.
may I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is he like, يعني خلاص I figured it out خلاص.
You sure?
Yes.
Okay. So if he jumps into actions quickly and then he regrets it later, how do we see that in the story? Okay, he was quick to decide to keep the paw. All right, disregarding of course Morse's
the warning.
Exactly. Disregarding Morse's warnings, and makes the wish. And makes the first wish. All right. Then at the end of the story, we see him regretting. All right, and we see him here trying to not use the paw. He's trying to make the situation better. But of course, at this point, it's Mrs. White who has gone crazy. Okay, it was kind of like the opposite. That's what we saw about them being different. Okay, next one. What do you suppose was the final wish? Now, remember, they never mentioned to us what the final wish was. All right, but we could all assume, and we built assumptions about it. Yes, sure. Judy, please.
يعني the final wish يعني to get rid يعني of the يعني the outside sorry, to get rid of the scary thing that's outside that
Good. Right, you're absolutely right. So the second wish, we all understand that the second wish was, of course, it's all Mrs. White's idea, and the second wish was for her. Mr. White hoped. It's wishing for Herbert to return back to life. All right, and Mrs. White was sitting by the window, anticipating Herbert's return at any second. And then, when they finally got that knock, he was terrified. So we could assume, or the assumed or the inferred third wish was like Judy said. Mr. White was so afraid that whatever would return or come back would not be their normal son, and that Mrs. White would not bear the sight of it, because again, it would be Herbert in such a horrible state, and they would not be able to bear it, okay, or bear whatever danger that it brings with it. Okay, so the third wish we could assume, or we would believe that it would be to undo the second wish. All right, so instead of you don't have to say anything too complicated. What the third wish would be to undo the second wish. All right, or to wish for whatever returned to go away. All right, so this is it, because he feared it. He was afraid that it would be something morbid, something deadly, something and again, they're old people. He's their only son, and to see him in such a state would be horrifying. what do you think happened at the end of the story? What does he mean when Mr. White begs his wife not to let it into the house? What is he afraid of? Or who or what was outside of the house? What do we think? Okay, so we know that they hear knocking at the door. Mrs. White is unable to open the door because, again, it's bolted or locked. All right, she needs Mr. White to come downstairs to open the door for her. And of course, Mr. White is not doing that because what is he busy looking for? He's busy finding the paw or looking for the monkey's paw so that he can hurry up and make that wish. All right, so here again, what do you think? What do you think happened at the end of the story? What does it mean? What is he referring to? Maya?
Mrs. White was she was anticipating her son Yani to come back, but Mr. White begs her not to let him in, which is Yani his son Herbert, because he knew that it's not really his son; it is just the corpse of their son.
Good job. All right. So she's anticipating her son's arrival. Mr. White refers to his son or as it. Okay, because he knows that whatever is going to come back is not going to be really Herbert. Herbert is going to be maybe an image, a horrifying image of him that they will not be able to bear. And you know, he also doesn't understand what kind of consequences will it bring, because he knows that wishes do get granted, but they do get granted in a very twisted, dark way. So he knows that it might be Herbert that returns, but it might not be the son Herbert, their loving son, the one that they love and care about. It might be, yes, Herbert, but something, you know, something horrifying and scary about him. All right. So when he refers, Mr. White refers to his son as it because he knows that it will be a horrifying image of his son in a bad state. In a bad state. Remember, he was mutilated. I'm going to mention the word again because you will need to use it on the exam, on the quiz. In a bad state, he's being mutilated, and he knows that wishes do get granted, yet in a twisted way. All right, so he knows that whatever it is, whatever showed up at their door is going to harm them.
طب Miss, I have a question.
Yes, sure.
هو the first man, his last wish was death.
Yes.
هو did he die?
They didn't mention that, but maybe that person, you know, they, you know, do, because we do understand from the monkey's paw that wishes do get granted. So maybe yes, he did maybe he did get his wish, maybe he did die, but maybe he got it in such a in such a morbid way. Maybe his death was so painful, maybe a painful death, or a very not a way that he had wished to die, and maybe he did die, but in such a a painful maybe way or in a morbid way. So that's what I would guess, Yanano, because if it's a question of did he die, yes, we know that wishes do get fulfilled. However, it's in the way, it's all about the way that it does. All right, at what cost? You get it?
But
yes.
Miss, بس if it's twisted يبقى he lived.
No, I don't mean in a twisted way, but like, and not in a twisted way that it would be the opposite. I don't mean it that way. I mean in a way that is kind of like it has negative reactions or negative consequences.
Okay, Miss.
All right. So let's just say in a negative way rather than twisted, so you guys don't think it's the opposite. No. All right. What are the conflicts in the monkey's paw? All right. So what types of these? What are the types? We have internal. We have external. All right. So what do you guys think? What do we have? First of all, we do have a person versus what else? Who could tell me? I need answers. Ali. Haven't heard from Ali.